Alright guys, welcome back to Mr. Majestyk once again, starring Charles Bronson, as this is another one of his more known movies, also released in 1974, same year as the original Death Wish. So the intro is pretty nice, don't see many intros like these, especially during the 70s movies, as most intros are, I guess, simple from what I've seen. And directed by Richard Fleischer, a pretty famous director, and has directed quite a few well-known movies. But here we are somewhere in Colorado, Edna to be exact, and we see a Majestyk brand melons truck. And here comes out Vince Majestyk himself, played by Charles Bronson, and we see all of the Majestyk brand melons job applicants getting ready to harvest a huge amount of watermelons. And now Vince is recruiting some new employees as he's paying $1.40 an hour for 10 hours a day as he talks to his co-worker recruiter, Larry, played by Alejandro Rey, and now drives his bus back to work with all the new workers and gets his other colleagues some cash for the gas for Vince's truck. And now some cars with more potential Majestyk melons job applicants, including the only girl with them, Nancy Chavez, played by Linda Crystal, as Vince likes what he sees. Yeah, not that many girls are willing to work manual labor here. So she asks for the key for the ladies' room, and the gas station owner says that both the men's and ladies' bathrooms are out of order. But Vince steps in and tells the owner that he was the last one who used the bathroom. Not the owner, the gas station attendant. He's not the owner of the gas station. And yeah, the truth is that the owner says there are too many migrants doing some kind of activity, which happened to be stealing toilet paper as one of them and messing up the interior of the bathroom as the other. Okay? Now Vince offers Nancy a job about picking melons, but before they go, he makes the gas station worker cough up the key for the bathrooms. Honestly, the gas station employee does look like the director a lot. Maybe it's just me. And now she catches a ride with Vince to get to the Melon Valley, or the Majestyk Melon Valley.
What are you trying to find out? If I sleep with some of them?
I mean, it's good to know for the future. So yeah, now she explains her work experience, and looks like Vince has a problem with the union workers, and now she introduces herself. And now we are at the 160-acre melon grounds, or valley, where Nancy Chavez and her friends will most likely work at. And also see that the bus with the new worker recruits have stopped by these two guys in cowboy clothes. And see another set of workers already working the melons, and one of the cowboys being Bobby Copas, played by Paul Koslow. And Copas wants to make money too by picking melons, as he interferes with Vince Majestyk's melon ground and offering a cheaper price to pay his workers, who are not Latinos, who are actually white people who charge $1.20, so 20 cents less than what Vince is offering his Latino recruits. And now Vince tells them to go home, and now Copas's guys play loud music from their truck to prevent Vince telling these white workers to leave. Well, no one really cares. So Vince steals the gun from Copas and shoots a speaker from the top of the truck. And now all these white workers leave and wants to put the gun into the trunk, and now Copas leaves too. And now back to melon gathering with Vince helping. And now two cops come here with a warrant for Vince's arrest, as someone filed a complaint against him. When Nancy and Larry are running towards a police car, and now he's taken to the local police station, Edna, as well as a mugshot is now being taken. Now some papers being signed for a lawyer to defend Vince, and now the lieutenant here is to tell Vince what really happened. And yes, it was Copas who filed the complaint against him and made some shit about Vince. And now some more background history with Vince's previous arrest in California. And Vince tries to tell the lieutenant that the melons need picking or else he will lose them. The lieutenant says to lock up Vince and doesn't care, based off of a previous arrest. And now he's having lunch with the other cellmates. And sitting at the very back is this movie's brute, Frank Renda, played by Al Lettieri. Mainly known for the Godfather movies, as well as some villainous parts. Another movie I've seen him in is McHugh, which also came out in 74, or I think it was 76, including this movie, but he died pretty early from a heart attack at the age of 47.
Hey, buddy, you gonna eat that sausage?
Looks like he doesn't want to share. Vince looks pissed that the food just went to waste, and now he wants a cigarette.
Help yourself.
From Frank Renda over there, as his other inmate offers Vince a cigarette instead. And now describes to Vince that's Frank Renda over there, a popular hitman. And at this point, Vince is trolling.
A TV star. Man, that's Frank Renda.
And now we see some cellmates being escorted to the bus, and that Renda is now cuffed since he is part of the mafia, just like in The Godfather, I believe. I haven't seen that movie in quite some time. And now Vince wants to walk to the bus with the TV crew blocking his way.
Now he's a TV star.
Now the bus is being driven to the state jail, and now Renda looks like he's getting ready for something as he has that bulldog kind of look here. And yeah, we see these guys in suits getting ready to sabotage the bus ride and shoots all of the cops escorting the cellmates. And yeah, they are indeed the Italian mafia wanting to let Frank loose. Now the only cop remaining, as well as one mafia guy running away since all of his buddies are dead. And now we see Frank screaming at Vince here that he wants to check if the driver still has the keys for the handcuffs. I mean, relax, Frank, you're not special. There are other guys that want to run away too, and Vince uses a plan to make the two cellmates bring out a dead body as an act that they're really helping a wounded officer. So the last guy brings out the dead driver, and Vince is smart here and hijacks a bus with Frank Renda inside it. Smart. And now more cops are here, and we see the last of the remaining guys running away. So the mafia guys get caught in this ditch, and we see Vince driving quickly with Frank in the back. And now the two hide in this barn to avoid the police for now. And now he wants to talk to Vince and tries to make him come along with him, but Vince disagrees and yanks him out with him. Yeah, not so tough now, huh, Frank? That cocky attitude you were showing in the jail cell? And now Vince brings him to this cabin somewhere that he uses for hunting season. And Frank sees that Vince did take those keys for the handcuffs. And now Vince does the mistake by unlocking the handcuffs off Frank Renda. And now they start fighting. I mean, for a guy who's a hitman, he's not very skilled without weapons. And then again, now Frank is playing the victim once again by convincing Vince that they can get to LA and get some girls and call it a day.
Been to LA and I've been to Mexico. And I've been laid.
But all Vince wants is for his melons to be gathered, and now Frank wants to make a deal with Vince, as he's willing to pay a large sum of money to let him free, and now brags about all of his killings he's done, and most of the killings he's never even done himself. Some hitman he is, and offers him $25,000 as an end result. Yeah, $25,000 was quite a lot in the 1970s, and Frank looks happy and now pretends he took a long walk to the local gas station for a phone call to get to the $25,000 that Frank Renda has offered him, but he doesn't have money for the call. But the woman at the gas station is nice to give for free. But instead of believing Frank, he calls up the police department and calls up the same lieutenant that told him to lock him up. And Vince tells the lieutenant that he's got Frank Renda with him, and the lieutenant doesn't believe it as he wants the assault charge dropped so that the lieutenant can have Renda. So the lieutenant is slick to say that he will come pick up Renda, but no, you don't always get your way in this world. Ha 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 ha. So that he could also arrest Vince again. Yeah, it's not going to work this time. Now Vince requests another phone call as well as some beers to go, and she says yes, since she's giving it for free. Oh wait, never mind. The second call he's making is the guy with the money that Frank was referring to, Wiley. And now the two hide on the side of the road waiting for the car sent by Wiley with the money inside it. And now this red car stops and inside is Wiley. And yeah, it's a girl. And Frank is excited since he hasn't seen a girl in who knows how long. Maybe 30 minutes. And Wiley was told at the gas station phone to bring $3.85. I guess the fee for the phone calls and the beers that Vince took. And Frank is surprised that the $25,000 didn't come. And this is all part of Vince's plan. And yeah, Frank is going to jail. Now Frank is willing to pay more for Vince to let him go, but still says no. And now Wiley pretends to offer Frank a cigarette.
Baby, you want a cigarette?
Yeah.
Here.
But instead, it's a covered up gun. Now Frank tries to get the gun off of Frank and now runs away since he has the gun pointed at him. And is shooting at Vince, still with handcuffs on. And now Vince has made it to the Edna police station in Colorado and asked for the lieutenant, but he did the mistake of coming here. How dumb can you be, man? The police don't make exceptions. And now at the Grand Nacional Hotel, and we see Wiley and Frank walking in, changed clothes. And now Frank gets inside his car with a trailer attached to it with both Wiley and his mafia colleague, Lundy, the same guy that was at the bus sabotage. And now Frank is wondering what happened to Vince Majestyk and tells him that he turned himself in. As Frank now has a plan to kill Vince Majestyk by first finding the Kopaz guy from earlier to tell him to drop the complaint he filed against him and get some of his guys to kill Vince, and is pissed off. So back at the Edna, Colorado police station, the lieutenant and this cop have taken the time to look up Vince Majestyk's background history again. And we see Vince is in the office as the lieutenant walks in to tell him that Bob Kopaz dropped the complaint, and Vince is all happy but still questions in why it was dropped, or the charge, whatever that was. Vince still can't leave since Frank Renda is on the loose now and wants to kill him. So yeah, the lieutenant is a piece of shit and tells Vince to go pick up his melons. And now the next day, Vince gets a change of clothes and back to work he goes. And now Larry picks him up and tells Vince that Nancy Chavez has made it easy for her to get more workers, or for him to get more workers. I mean, yeah, it does help when you're a hot girl. As well as Larry getting his wife and kids to work to get the melons. And now that Vince sees everything is going good, he just drives away. And as some cops keeping an eye on Vince and goes inside the diner and sees a truck with the cop inside it, but he doesn't know that yet, and says hi to Julio and asks him to get him a crew for the melon picking, but says there aren't any, but says he doesn't have anyone willing to work right now, as well as asking the other guy sitting next to him or across him, but he said he will get him a crew much later, but not now. Now Vince is pissed off that he is desperate for melon pickers and now gives up again and sees Bob Kopaz again offering the same crew for the melon picking, as he has a cop now watching for him as his witness if Vince were to do anything again towards Bob Kopaz. Now Vince asks him why Bob dropped the complaint and says he's just feeling generous. We all know that's not true, and gets a suspicious feeling why he exactly dropped the charge. And Kopaz is scared now, and Vince thinks it's you-know-who that made Kopaz drop it. Yeah, Frank Renda. And yeah, the guy driving the car is, of course, Frank Renda's guy. So now they get here in the middle of nowhere as they wait for a plane with Frank Renda inside it. And as he gets brought out, as Frank is so impatient to wonder where Vince Majestyk is, and he tells him that he's been turned loose, as well as, and yeah, Wiley's there too.
Who's this asshole?
This is our friend Bobby Kopaz.
It's weird how a skilled hitman, or claims to be one, doesn't know who Bob Kopaz is since it was his plan. I don't know, Frank is just weird. When Bob Kopaz tells Frank the melons is what all Vince cares about right now, so they drive to Majestic Melons Valley. Frank is just so pissed off to see that Vince has workers and cops all around the Melon Valley. And now Bob is asked to leave Frank's car and is forced to walk. Well, Bob Kopaz is dumb for that of getting Frank Renda involved. Well, agreeing to Frank Renda's plan. Now, Frank Renda is being taken here into the forest, and it's actually Frank meeting up with his crew again. And here at this over-the-top cabin. Yeah, he is here to meet up with his lawyer, and now Frank has his pissed off face again, as he just wants Vince and see that the charges against him are still there, and he's still not in the clear, so he just leaves for now. Now back to melon picking, and now the melons are all picked out. And yeah, Vince will be rich in a week with all these melons picked up. And now we see this guy going inside this porta potty, which is a cop, and he gets killed, and now Frank Renda is here at Majestic Melons Valley late at night. Now opens it up and kills a guy inside it, and Frank and his goons are at Vince Majestyk's house to see if he is there, so they leave and look for him elsewhere, since Vince is not at home. Now Frank is at Larry's house, and his goons beat him up, wanting to know where Vince is, and now tells all the guys living at Majestic Melons Valley that they do not work here anymore. Now the most obvious way of revenge for Frank Renda, so of course, shoot all of the melons.
Get the man's melons in.
Now back at the same diner where Vince was desperate for melon pickers, as he is with Nancy Chavez again, as she's curious about Vince's ex-wife from 4 years ago, as well as a 7-year-old daughter whom he has not seen in 2 years. Bob Kopaz is back at Majestic Melons Valley as a truck is parked outside.
If you want to go to bed with me, why don't you say it?
I don't want to say it, I want to do it.
As Frank Renda is back. And now back at the diner. And now Bob Kopaz and Frank Renda are back to annoy Vince Majestyk, and now with some more threats as Vince punishes Frank. And now he leaves with Nancy again, and now he's back at the Melon Valley and sees that all the melons are wrecked inside the barn. Now time for revenge, as Vince and Nancy have collected the melons that are still in good condition, and tells Nancy to leave since Renda is still here, and now she leaves with Larry and the melons as Frank Renda's guys are following them already. So Larry drops off Nancy, and now Larry drives off and delivers the melons, and Bob notices that it wasn't Vince driving all along since it is Vince's truck. Larry now notices that he's cornered and sees that Cope passes back trying to scare Larry as Frank's guys rushes the car into his legs, and now they just run away. So Vince is at the hospital now and has been told by a police officer here that Larry's legs are now broken, and Vince wants to know who did this to him, as Larry tells him it was the same guys from last night. As Copass was also there too and recommends him to hide somewhere else. Or Larry recommends Vince to hide somewhere for now. Now the lieutenant here is to tell Vince that the guy from the porta potty was killed, which was a cop, like I said. And now Vince is pissed off that this all happened because of this arrest. Now Vince is back at Majestic Melons Valley as Copass and Renda's crew are there waiting for him, and now he's disappeared. Nancy is also in the house, already back. So Vince knows he's being watched, and now he crawls up from behind to get to Copass and sees how Renda's guys are surrounding his entire house, and inside is Nancy washing her hands as she got inside on time and now aims for the gun on the wall. So back inside Vince's house, he's still figuring out how Renda will be stopped, so he will do the job himself. So Renda's guys are still waiting for Vince to come outside as Renda and his right hand are here again, and tells Copass that he will go inside Vince's house first. And now Vince tells Nancy to leave, but this is all part of a plan to escape with Nancy driving his truck. Yeah, you saw that, right? So yeah, as Nancy drives and we see this undercover cop contacting HQ that Renda is on Vince's tail, as the lieutenant tells to get ready to send more cops towards Frank Renda. Even more of Frank Renda's guys are closing in, all driving the same kind of car, just in different colors. So now Nancy is going the wrong way, and now she drives through the sand again, and now a big chase. Now he takes over the driving. Now Vince drives through these rocky hills and spots the other guy, or the other car with Renda's guys in it, and pushes them down. So Frank notices that Vince led them to where his hunting cabin is as a trap, and the same lodge where Frank was brought to see his lawyer is also nearby, or the over-the-top cabin. And now the police helicopter is here and has contacted the car that Frank Renda has seen all along, with the lieutenant listening too. So Frank is back at the same cabin where he met up with his lawyer, and Copass and his right-hand man Lundy, as well as Wiley, are also there. So Frank looks with his binoculars and sees that Vince is there and shoots them, and now his only solution is to make Wiley go out there for her to talk to Vince, and calls her over here that the police are almost here. So he tells Nancy to take Wiley with her to the highway, or the freeway. Yeah, I don't know why he doesn't use his brain here. Wiley could kill Nancy. Remember the first time, Vince? So Vince slowly comes in. Frank knows he's still there as he takes out the key from the car. So there's about 5 minutes left, and Vince is closing in, and Frank wants to go upstairs, and now it looks like Copass has found Vince here. Now Frank's man Lundy goes down to see, and Vince is near the window. Frank climbs down the roof to see if Vince is there, and now does this to his right-hand man Lundy. I mean, just pathetic. And Copass is woken up to know that Frank Renda isn't the hitman he is. He's just a bum that used the right-hand man Lundy to get what he wants, and got him killed for no reason. And now Copass runs outside, and Vince is there, and tells him to drape over here, pretend like he's dead. And we know Copass isn't as innocent as he is, and tries to escape with the car. And yeah, Vince got you there, man.
Hey, boy.
Now the cops are here with Wiley sitting in the car. Now Copass is also arrested. And now the lieutenant wants Vince to come back to the station. Yeah, there's also Frank Renda there, all dead, and the lieutenant is all there happy. He still has that Paul Kersey vigilante in him, into a different movie too. And the lieutenant here is like Frank Ochoa for all you Death Wish fans out there. That's it, guys. Mr. Majestyk from 1974. I really have to get out of the 70s. Majority of the videos on my channel are 70s movies, but it's just the best decade for anything, really. Consumerism, glamour, actors, fashion, sports, economy. This is when materialism all started and will be the best decade ever. That's it for me. See you soon. The Samurai Cop from 1991. It's a direct-to-cassette movie with Matt Hannon or Matthew Caritas, however he goes by. I think you'll enjoy this movie. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Check out Mr. Majestyk if you haven't yet. Take care. See you soon and watch away.